Good evening. This is Andre Rustino. I'm Managing Director of the ISA100 Wireless Compliance Institute. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes, let some additional folks log in, and then I'll present the agenda and introduce the speakers, and we'll get started. But for now, we'll just give it a couple more minutes here. This is Andre Rustino again. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. The ISA100 Wireless Compliance Institute Governing Board and members welcome you to the presentation on the results of the December 2010 ISA100 Wireless Plugfest. The objective of the webinar is to provide a briefing on the results of the structured interoperability testing conducted in December of 2010 at National Technical Services, confirming interoperability of ISA 100.11a devices in mixed vendor scenarios. Excuse me. Due to the large number of attendees, the webinar is in broadcast mode only, so your audio connection is muted. But I encourage you to submit questions along the way using the Q&A tab on the right portion of your browser as we go along. And at the end of the webinar, we can circle back to those and answer those questions. We'll get to as many questions as possible in a lot of time. Later today, we'll post the presentation and questions and answers from this session on the Education tab of the WCI website. So at this point, I'll go ahead and introduce the speakers. So I'm Andre Rustino, Managing Director of the Wireless Compliance Institute. I'm responsible for the business and administrative functions of the Institute and provide accountabilities back to the ISA Board of Directors for all the compliance institutes within ASCII and for the wireless ISA 100 Wireless Compliance Institute. I'm going to introduce WCI in the context for the Wireless Plugfest. Our next speaker will be Jay Werb. He's a Technical Director for the Wireless Compliance Institute. He's going to explain the goals of the program. Jay manages the Institute's compliance certification program and leads technical initiatives. He's an ISA 100 committee member and the editor and author of the data link layer. That's the MESH section of the ISA 100.11a standard. Jay has more than 30 years of experience in the computer field, with at least 15 years focused on wireless technologies. He founded several technology companies and holds more than a dozen patents. Jay earned his BS in biology and a Master's of Science in Management, both from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Penny Chen will be our second speaker. Penny is a Principal Systems Architect at Yokogawa Corporation. She's actively involved in ISA, participating in standards development, including the ISA 100 wireless systems for automation. She's also participating in the ISA 99 Manufacturing and Control Systems Security Committee. She's the current co-chair of the ISA 100.15, that's the Wireless Backhaul and Backbone Network Working Group. Dr. Chen participates in the ISA Security Compliance Institute as well, and she's also the vice chair of the ISA 100 Wireless Compliance Institute. Prior to Yokogawa, Dr. Chen worked as a senior architect, technical marketing, and product manager at Intel, Alcatel-Lucent, and a startup company where she focused on wireless networking technologies and security solutions for a wide range of wireless technologies, including Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 2G, 3G mobile technologies. Dr. Chen received her PhD in electrical engineering from Northwestern University. She's going to provide the details on the test and the test results. So, wireless.
Excuse me, Andrew. I think the presentation is not showing up on the screen. Have you shared?
I can see it.
Okay. Well, go ahead. If you can see it, go ahead.
Yeah, Penny, I used the link that came out with this meeting invitation. If you use the earlier links, I think they won't work.
I see. Got it. Thanks.
Okay. All right. We have time. We're okay on that front. So the ISA100 Wireless Compliance Institute is one of several compliance institutes within the Automation Standards Compliance Institute. The Automation Standards Compliance Institute was a nonprofit company stood up by ISA. It's a separate legal and accounting entity. It was established to provide a home for conformance programs. And the objective of setting up a separate legal and accounting entity was to provide a separation between the standards development work that goes on at ISA, keep that separate from the conformance program activity that's going on with the ISA100 Wireless Compliance Institute and the ISA Security Compliance Institute and other conformance programs that may be stood up. So one of the purposes of the compliance institutes is to provide linkages from the marketplace implementation of standards back to the standards development organization and to provide the feedback that's necessary for updates to the standards and the implementation of those standards. So the mission of the ISA100 Wireless Compliance Institute is to decrease the time, costs, and risks of developing and deploying standards-based industrial wireless devices and systems. So our goal is to provide assurances of interoperability, compliance to the standard, develop tools for product development and deployment, provide technical support, market education, and awareness for ISA100 wireless standard. Now, this has been under operation for about a year and a half, 2 years. It became operational after the standard was approved, which was in September 2009, and some updates to the standard were recently approved January 5th. And they were overwhelmingly supported by more than 70% of the voting members and 13 out of 14 voting user members. So WCI members include both asset owner operators, companies from the major oil industry vertical, and suppliers, including Aprion, some of the larger suppliers, Honeywell, Yokogawa, Yamataki, General Electric, Fuji, and others. So the wireless Plugfest, the primary objective of it was to demonstrate that a product could be built to the standard, introduced into a mesh environment, and interoperate with one another as the standards specified, and rotating multiple system manager and gateways interoperate with multiple system managers and multiple gateways. So we did a permutation, mix and match. And it all worked. Typically, with a Plugfest like this, one of the objectives is to find things that go bump in the night and make some corrections based on that. But a lot of work's been done in the last couple of years. That suppliers have been building product for 2 years now, and a lot of work's been done along the way. And everything seemed to work on this one. So there wasn't a whole lot of bump in the night. So again, we want to continue to do the Plugfest to confirm that compliant devices interoperate in a mixed supplier configuration. We do multiple permutations. We confirm stack level interoperability, application level interoperability. And in this scenario, we use market-ready certified devices. These weren't lab products or pilot products. These are products that are going out the door. The WCI has been doing device-level conformance testing since 2009, and so we can certify to a rigorous set of certification requirements on a test pod, and the assumption is that those devices should work properly. And by actually putting them into a mixed environment and rotating out and doing permutations, we're confirming to ourselves that, yes, they do. And we're going to continue to explore new testing scenarios to improve the user experience. So this is just the first in many different types of interoperability and mixed environment testing that we'll do. The Plugfest was held in December last year at NTS, National Technical Systems. It's a ISA100 certified lab, and they're chartered to provide independent testing of ISA100.11a devices on our behalf. So we expect to continue to do this, and we thank NTS for hosting and supervising this type of activity. Okay, so Jay will continue with the testing approach, and I'll turn it over.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Well, as Andre said, my name is Jay Werb, and I'm the Technical Director of WCI. And in my portion of this presentation, I'm going to discuss the general purpose of the Wireless Plugfest. And especially I'm going to talk about certification and how the Wireless Plugfest complements certification testing. So the Wireless Plugfest is a key part of an overall program to achieve assured interoperability. So let's start by looking at the basic goals of certification testing and compare those to the goals of the Wireless Plugfest, just to see how they kind of work together. The first question you might ask yourself is, okay, we've certified devices. Aren't we done once you've certified it? And once you've certified a device, why do you need a Wireless Plugfest? And the basic answer to that question is that a Wireless Plugfest is a check on your process. And when you look at these two processes side by side, the most obvious difference is the number of devices you're testing. In a certification test, you're testing one device at a time, and the test is very structured. If the single device performs a specific set of tricks, the certification test is successful, and the device is certified. It takes a big investment to design and implement a certification test, but once that foundation is laid, the test itself is very focused and very direct. Well, Wireless Plugfest looks completely different. Multiple devices are tried together as a system. The purpose is not individual device certification. Instead, a Wireless Plugfest demonstrates that a group of compliant devices will actually work together as a system performing a function. It's really very reassuring to see devices from multiple suppliers working together as a system, and that's what a Plugfest is all about. So the certification test is like an inspection sticker, and a Plugfest is like a test drive. They go together. So moving down the slide, certification testing involves one supplier at a time. But wireless plug test involves mixing together devices from multiple suppliers. In certification testing, a test configuration uses XML scripts to emulate the operation of an ideal system manager and gateway. This is a very structured test, and the test is exactly the same every time. Everybody knows exactly what the test is going to be. In a wireless plug test, the whole point is that the trial is not carefully controlled. Different suppliers bring their devices and their management software and their gateways. Then we try a lot of different permutations, and these are permutations that have never been tried before. So a wireless plug test is not really planned specified test. It's just plug this stuff together and see if it works. So as noted on the bottom of the slide, the two approaches together ensure interoperability. WCI feels that both approaches are necessary and both are part of our basic process. The two approaches validate each other. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So just to put this in context, let's quickly look at WCI's certification process. On the left side, we show a PC that's running XML test scripts. Those hundreds of XML scripts constitute the certification tests. Under the control of the XML scripts, a PC sends a message to a specialized WCI device called a diagnostic backbone router. This little device looks like a backbone router to the device, but presents a specialized command response application interface on the PC side. It enables an XML script on a PC to exactly control what happens on a radio. Then the device, under test, receives commands and packets from the test scripts, processes them, and provides a response. That response is forwarded to the PC for analysis. The PC then checks whether the response is what we expected and makes an automatic pass-fail decision. Then the result is logged to a file. So the basic structure of a device certification is that one device is certified to a very predictable series of stimuli. It passes if a response to those stimuli in an exactly predictable way. A plug test is different. It's complementary. A plug test is more ad hoc, and it mixes things up in a somewhat unpredictable way to verify that real-world systems behave as expected. Next slide, please. Good, thank you. So again, just to put things in context, let's quickly look at a logical overview of certification. The main point here is just to show that the process is structured and rigorous and not at all ad hoc. So the solid lines show the development process, and the dotted lines in the other direction show traceability. The documentation is formal and it's rigorous. Starting on the upper left, we have the specification being certified. In this case, it's the ISA100.11a standard. In WCI's process, the first step is to dig through the standard, line by line, extracting a set of formal test requirements. This step takes literally hundreds of hours, but it's worth it because it provides an exact, rigorous, and maintainable list of what needs to be tested. The next step is to convert the test requirements to test cases in pseudocode. The test requirements specify what is tested, and the pseudocode specifies how it is tested. Then, the XML scripts, hundreds of them, perform the functions described in the pseudocode. Test logs provide test results, including automated pass-fail indications. If the device passes all of its tests, it's certified. This process, especially its documentation, provides a predictable and auditable certification process. Okay. Now with that background, let's talk about the WCI December Plugfest, which have a very different objective. Now, every Plugfest is a little bit different. In December, we verified two basic points. First, we verified that a mixed vendor mesh works as expected. Second, we verified that the system-level offerings from various vendors each work with a mixed vendor mesh. I hope you can see this animation over the web. Let's see if this works. It shows vendor systems being swapped out. That's basically what we did in this wireless Plugfest. In a few minutes, Penny Chen will describe the permutations in more detail. So, going back to the start of the automation, we start with a configuration where the backbone router is physically separate from the gateway and system manager. So in this case, the system is actually on an internet appliance that doesn't even have a radio. Then we swap out that system with another system, and in this case, it's one box that does everything. Okay. Then we swap in another all-in-one box and do the same thing. Okay, and voila, it works. Interoperability is shown to work in real systems, so it's not just theoretical anymore. Next slide, please. There we go. Good. Okay. The wireless Plugfest wasn't strictly limited to ISA100.11a specifications. First, WCI has written a specification for out-of-band provisioning using a short-range infrared link. Okay. So what is out-of-band provisioning? Out-of-band provisioning is a step where security and network information is given to a device so that it can join the network. Out-of-band is the term in the ISA100 standard, and that term is used to describe a physical connection that can be used to transmit secret information into the device. This all happens before the device joins the network. Provisioning prepares the device for operation. If the physical channel for this provisioning is private, then the provisioning step is secure. Now, the ISA100 standard describes all of the commands you need for out-of-band provisioning, but the standard didn't define the physical channel. The choice of the physical channel is left to the marketplace. Now, 2 years ago, in a meeting with our users, the members, WCI decided to specify two alternatives for out-of-band provisioning. First, we specified an infrared connection using the IRDA standard, and the IRD standard is pretty much the same standard that's used in just about any infrared device you can think of. Second, we specified a wired connection using RS-232. These interfaces were chosen because there are many, many devices available that can easily support both IRDA and RS-232. IRDA is convenient and reasonably secure, while RS-232 covers a scenario where only a wired connection will do. WCI's out-of-band specification is very simple. The ISA100.11a provisioning messages are fully specified by ISA100.11a. Obviously, the physical channels, IRDA and RS-232, are also very, very well specified and very mature. So the WCI specification just glues together these specifications, covering aspects such as selecting data rates, picking connectors, wake up, and that kind of thing. The products that WCI has certified all support the IRDA interface. So in the Unpluggfest, we verified that the IRDA specification does indeed provide an interoperable out-of-band provisioning solution. Okay. In addition, WCI also tested device descriptors based on ISA104. Now, ISA100.11a provides a fairly basic application layer, sort of like 4 to 20 milliamp on steroids. Beyond its basic functions, the ISA100 application layer is designed for extensibility using device descriptors. 2 years ago, WCI decided to write a glue specification between ISA100.11a and ISA104. glue specification was completed in June 2010, and today commercially available ISA100.11a devices are using these specifications. The wireless Plugfest demonstrated that these device descriptors, based on ISA104, result in interoperable wireless systems, just as they do in the wired world. So, to summarize, the wireless Plugfest verified cross-vendor interoperability of the wireless mesh, cross-vendor interoperability of infrared provisioning, and cross-vendor interoperability of device descriptors based on ISA104. Everything worked the way it was supposed to, and everybody was happy. Here we go. There it comes. Okay. It's traditional to take pictures at Plugfest with smiling people lined up behind market-ready products. You'll learn more about these products next, but there you can see them all kind of lined up. You'll see other pictures of those products, but there you see them all lined out on the table, and the engineers who made it all happen smiling behind them. I'd like to thank all of these people, and obviously this is just a fraction of the various teams who made this all happen. Okay. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm the fellow saying thank you in the picture. And now Penny Chen from Yokogawa will describe the test cases and test results from the wireless Plugfest. If you haven't met Penny, you can see her picture on the side. So thank you for joining us, and here's Penny.
Cool. Thanks, Jay. I'm Penny Chen, Principal System Architect for Yokogawa. Nice to meet all of you. And I will go through the detailed test cases and the test results with you. Next page, please. So this slide shows the equipment involved in this wireless Plugfest. Multiple devices from different suppliers were tested. On field device side, it includes a pressure transmitter, high-level analog input transmitter, the temperature transmitter from Honeywell, temperature transmitter and the pressure transmitter from Yokogawa, and a generic node from Nevis. We also tested 3 types of system devices with a different combination of the gateway, system manager, and the backbone router functions from 3 different suppliers. For example, the Yokogawa all-in-one gateway includes gateway, system manager, backbone router, and the Modbus server function are co-located in one box. Honeywell WDM device, which include system manager, security manager, gateway, and the Modbus, and so on functions. Honeywell also has a dedicated backbone router, which is a physical different device. The Levis ISA100 was also built in system manager, security manager, backbone router, and the gateway all in one box. Multiple software are tested on the host PC, which include a field wireless configurator, field wireless management tool, OPC server for ISA100, OPC client, and Modbus client from different suppliers. There are 2 types of provisioning methods, or out-of-band OOB provisioning and the over-the-air provisioning has been tested. There are 2 types of OOB provisioning device that has been used to provision multiple devices from different suppliers. You will see detail a little bit later. All the equipment is a market-ready product. That means the devices are all commercially available today. All sensor devices in this Plugfest has passed the ISA100 wireless certification test. Let's go to next slide and take a look at the detailed test cases. So we actually have 3 different test cases. This is the first one. Test case 1 was configured using Honeywell system and a combination of Honeywell, Yokogawa, and Levis devices. This test configuration has a Honeywell WDM device, which include a Honeywell System Manager, Security Manager, Gateway, and Modbus. Honeywell HDAT backbone router, Honeywell ZFS host PC used for device configuration and network management software, a PDA device with built-in IRDA infrared interface for OOB over-the-air provisioning, and a combination of Yokogawa pressure transmitter, Yokogawa temperature transmitter, and the Honeywell temperature transmitters. In this test case, a Honeywell PDA device was used to provision Yokogawa device. Check the device identification, configured device using infrared OOB interface, and the test scenarios including allowing device to join the network, remove device from the network, and check the device rejoin the network. Verify the mesh and the star topology and the routing establishment. Test the device configuration. Also tested that, for example, did read and write device attribute, verify the device mode configuration and operation, and so on. As Jay mentioned before, the test scenario verifies the ISA100 device descriptors defined by WCI. Finally, the test scenario also tested and verified the device data and more. Next slide, please, for the test case 2. The test case 2 was configured using Yokogawa system and a mix of Yokogawa, Honeywell, and Levis devices. This test configuration has Yokogawa all-in-one YFGW 710 device, which includes Yokogawa System Manager, Security Manager, Gateway, Backbone Router, and Modbus Server. Yokogawa Host PC that contains OPC Server, OPC Client, Modbus Client, Field Wireless Configurator, and the Field Wireless Management Tool. Yokogawa Provisioning Device, actually you see that it's called FieldMate, with commercial available IR adapters for out-of-band provisioning, OOB provisioning, and the combination of Yokogawa pressure transmitter and Honeywell temperature transmitters. On this test case, Yokogawa provisioning device was used to provision Honeywell device through the OOB infrared interface, and has repeated the same test procedure as test case 1. Next page, please. Next page will be the test case 3 that has configured using Levis system and Honeywell Yokogawa devices. This test configuration has Levis all-in-one VR800 device, which include the Levis System Manager, Security Manager, Gateway, and Backbone Router. Levis MCS hosts PC that contains monitoring and controlling software. Levis using over-the-air OTA provisioning method to provision Yokogawa pressure transmitter and Honeywell temperature transmitters. On this test case, the same test scenarios has been repeated, except the testing data applications, that is more product specifications. And next page, please. Next page, we're going to summarize. In this page, in summary, there are 4 categories of test results has been categorized during the wireless Plugfest. The 4 categories are provisioning, networking, device configuration, and the data application. The provisioning, based on the test scenarios, including checking device identification, configure device using either OOB or OTA provisioning method, test the procedures such as allowing device to join the network, remove the device from the network, and the device rejoin the network, and more. The network result based on the test scenarios are verifying the mesh and the star topology and the routing establishment, and more. The device configuration result based on the tested scenarios on device configuration, for example, read and write device attributes, verifying device mode configurations and operations. As Jay mentioned before, we verified some of the user profiles defined by WCI. The data application result based on the test aim to verifying data configuration specifications, data publication rates, and more. As the wireless Plugfest results show on this table, all 3 gateway and all field devices from multiple suppliers have successfully achieved interoperability. WCI team has identified some new test scenarios from this first wireless Plugfest experience. WCI has committed to improve the future ISA100 wireless Plugfest for the users and the suppliers. You are encouraged to join us. Thank you very much for joining us today. I will pass this beacon back to Andrew for Q&A session.
Okay. Thank you, Penny. Let me go to the questions and answers. The questions. Okay, so the question was asked, what protocol was used? HART, Fieldbus Foundation, Profibus PA? That's something that you can answer, Penny?
Okay. So quickly try to address this question. Jay can add more answers. So the protocol we used in here, actually, because this is Plugfest. Plugfest, the purpose is for interoperability. So we tested network layer interoperability. We based on ISA100 instead of testing application protocols. The protocol you mentioned in here, like HART, Fieldbus Foundation, Profibus, those are the application protocols. Basically, those are not in this test purpose, so we haven't done that.
Another question is, what is the cost to participate in the Plugfest? I can answer that. There was no fees for suppliers to participate in the Plugfest. It was it's WCI sponsored, and everybody that participated paid their own airfares and their employee time and like that to be there. Another question, will the presentation be available on the website for viewing after the call? The answer is yes. It's posted by a live meeting function a little bit later this evening or tomorrow morning. Next question, can the device vendors get test protocols, templates from WCI so that they can take care of interoperability issues starting in the design and development phase? I'll answer that. The answer is yes. Just give my contact information's on the slide. Send me an email or call me, and I'll get you connected to the right people to get you started in your product development.
Andre, this is Jay. I don't know if it was clear from the slides, but the test process we showed is a test kit that people buy, so they can. The idea is that they get the test kit and then they run the test in their labs, so that by the time it gets to NTS, usually the suppliers run the test 1 million times themselves and it should pass the first time.
Right. So the test kit does a little bit more than just testing. it provides information that can be used in diagnosing your product when you're in product development. So we call it a test kit, but it's really a product development tool and test kit. But in the end, the scripts that are run in the test kit are the same that are run for certification testing. So by the time you do a submission for certification, it's perfunctory. Yeah, so the next question, are there downloadable scripts for self-test before the Plugfest? I think that answer is no, but you can elaborate on that, Jay or Penny.
Right. The idea with the Plugfest is that we're connecting to other people's products, so you don't actually know what's going to happen. So really, all you can do in preparation for a Plugfest is to test your device against a test kit, which is very structured. And then, if the process is good, then the Plugfest should just work. So as I said, a Plugfest is sort of a check on the process.
Okay. Next question, will there be interoperability certificates issued for devices and gateways for the ISA100.11a devices in the future? I think that's a good question. That we don't have it now. I would think that down the road that would certainly make sense, and it's certainly something to consider, sort of like the old Microsoft hardware compatibility list. That would make sense. But like I said, we don't have a specific plan for that, but we certainly have plans to continue to expand listings so that folks buying product know what they're getting and what works. There was another question: Are we going to offer additional technical presentations on the ISA100 technology? Of course, the answer is yes to that. We'll continue to do webinars and live technology seminars. We also expect to have a 1- and 3-day class soon. We presented an ISA100 overview and an ISA100 networking technology webinar last year. Both of those are available on our website. You can play them back. There's another question. Were Plugfest participants given specific device configurations or settings in preparation for the Plugfest?
The answer is no. The Plugfest engineer did not constrain in a particular prescription device settings. They just tested whatever the suppliers properly in on the table. So no, the answer is no.
Okay. Also, can one configurator work for all devices on the network? I think that probably really is a question asking it, does the one provisioning device work? Does the one provisioning tool work for all devices on the network?
Actually, the answer is yes. So you see that we just described the 3 different test cases. On each test case configuration, the same provisioning device has been used for provision all different devices from different suppliers. Yes, there is only one provisioning device has been used. And that's why the interoperability of the provisioning device is one of the tests on the wireless Plugfest.
Right. The caveat is that the devices need to have the infrared interface. Now, it happens that every device on the market has the infrared interface, but at the moment there's no requirement for that.
Another question was noise or interference tolerance taken into consideration during the Plugfest event?
Actually, no. Because this Plugfest was designed to carefully assess the interoperability of the structure in constructed environment. It is a function test. It is not a performance test or QA test. However, I believe WCI expecting to conducting performance assessment in the area of interest in the future on our future projects. I think you can put more word on that.
There's the next question. Is there any advantage of out-of-band provisioning over the air provisioning?
I can take that one. Yes, it's the main advantage is a security advantage. That one of the steps is that you're sending secret information into the device, so that if you do it using a radio, then someone can in theory hear that information. So if you're sitting if you're doing it in the middle of Nigeria or something, it's probably okay to do it over the air because who's listening? But if you don't have tight control over the environment, it's better to use some very short-range device that can't be overheard. So infrared is very short-range, and of course an RS-232 is can't possibly be overheard. So, and then once you get to that step and the secret information is in the device, then everything from there on in is secure. And there are some practical differences. I mean, for instance, if you're connecting an RS-232 connector or and pointing an infrared device at your device that you're provisioning, you know which one you're actually provisioning. If you have a table full of devices, any one of them can be contacted wirelessly, and so. Well, there are tricks people do. You press a button on both sides at the same time. So it can't. Other than the security issue, you can't actually do it wireless.
Right.
So the main reason is security, and it also, as you said, makes the instruction simpler as well. You just point it at it. You don't have to do any funny button presses or anything like that.
Another question, can a device be configured from a host system in addition to the handheld device?
Yeah, I'll take this one. There's a difference between provisioning and configuration. So provisioning is, when we talk about provisioning, or when ISA100 talks about provisioning, they're talking about the step of preparing the device to join the network. So you're giving it things like network information and keys and stuff like that. Once the device joins the network, then you do what's called configuration, which is setting it up to, for example, report temperature every 10 seconds. So generally the configuration comes from the host or through the gateway after the device joins the network, and provisioning comes typically from a handheld or some stationary situation before the device joins the network. So yeah, you have two words that sound the same, that sound almost the same, but mean completely different things. It can be a little confusing.
Mm-hmm.
What about security? Was security addressed in the December 2010 Plugfest?
Not. Well, maybe I can address a little bit, and then you can add later. Actually, that is not specifically addressed because we're basically addressing the features that are defined in the standard right now. The security is also defined in the standard. Whatever the security test that is included in standard that has been addressed, but not a particular one, or additional one on the top.
Okay. Go ahead. So another question: does WCI certified gateways to the standard? I can answer that. We're not certifying gateways today, but it's on our roadmap. So the ISA100 11A standard specifies connectivity up to the loci of the gateway, and when we're certifying a device, this is essentially what's getting certified. But connectivity of gateways to host systems, that would be addressed in future certification programs. Did I explain that right, Jay?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay. But yeah, so not today, but definitely on the roadmap.
A lot of people ask that question. It's a good question.
Yeah. So. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. I think that's it. One person did ask, what issues or lessons learned resulted from the Plugfest event.
I'd say the main thing we learned is we had a lot of visitors who weren't actually there with devices, and they learned that they want to be involved next time. So I think what we learned is that we need another one. And we need another one in about 6 months, and I think we'll have a lot more participation.
That's true. I will add that point. Many of the suppliers, the vendors, and come to see the on Plugfest. They were so excited to see that's going on, and they've been very enthusiastic to join next time too. That was a little surprise.
And then the other thing Penny mentioned is that it would be good next time around to put users into the mix.
Correct. Well, actually, and in the form, if you are interested, you're welcome to join us. Bring your product here, and we will very much welcome you.
Another question. Will the WCI specifications for out-of-band provisioning and other topics be made available to the public? I can take that. That's kind of an administrative question. The answer is yes. As the specs are tested and proven to be robust and usable, we'll make them available. WCI members participate in the spec development and see the work in progress ahead of the final tested release of these specs. So, they as members, they automatically will get copies. But we're not going to publish and expose specifications that haven't been proven out, and that's specifically what part of the Plugfest was about, was to test some of these specifications, for instance, for the out-of-band provisioning. But yes. Okay. I don't see any other questions. I'll give a couple more seconds, but if nobody has any more questions, I don't know if Penny or Jay have any final comments. But if folks are interested in getting product to market using the ISA100.11a standard, our website's www.isa100wci.org, and my information's here, and just contact us, and we can put you in touch with the proper technical folks to get you the support and the startup help that you need.
I think Angie said very well. Sorry, I think Angie said very well. So you see the screen has Angie's contact information, and he actually is the single point of contact. You're welcome to join WCI and Wireless Plugfest. We very much welcome you. Feel free to contact us.
Okay. Well, again, on behalf of the WCI members and our governing board, thank you very much for taking out the time to attend this webinar, and we hope to see you on future ones. We'll send out a notification letting you know when this is posted, and you can circulate the link to your friends and other coworkers. All righty then. Have a good day.
All right, thank you, Andre.
See you next time.
Thank you.
All right, take care.